What up guys, today we're going to be talking about How Strong is Galactus Part 3. We're going to be going through every comic book appearance he's ever had and going through some of his most powerful feats. Some of them, there was only a few, feats that he had throughout each comic book, issues or series that there were. So there wasn't that much, and a lot of these ones for this video at least are going to be jumping around from different comic books to different comic books because he did have quite a bit of few instances throughout them. So after the whole, Infinity War storyline event, there was just a couple of multiple events where he was a part of or had a little story in. Right after this, there was this whole story event where Galactus ended up in a magical dimension. And as he ended up in the magical dimension, Doctor Strange had to stop him from wreaking havoc, because we all know what Galactus does. He usually absorbs planets and he converts it into energy for himself, and that's from usually the regular universe where it's follows through the laws of science, whereas in these dimensions they're ruled by magic itself, so it's a little bit different. So him going to this magical dimension was kind of a dangerous thing, and Doctor Strange had to stop him. He went in there, he started absorbing stuff from this dimension, different plant life. He was absorbing the planets, and this one creature was in this dimension that it kind of ruled over this dimension, so they had to stop him. Galactus started destroying everything. There was these two other higher magical dimensional beings talking to this being. It was the Eye of Agamotto. So you guys know that Doctor Strange has the pendant of the Eye of Agamotto, which he can manipulate time and do other magical stuff with. Well, Galactus somehow ended up in there, and he started wreaking havoc. He started fighting Agamotto and attacking him, though Agamotto could actually fight back, and he did state that he doesn't have a real physical body, but still Galactus was obliterating him and he was coming back, and the other he was asking for help from the other magical cosmic being species, like, hey, look, he's destroying this on my dimension and I need this guy out of here. He's causing havoc and I can't do anything against him. And they both are like, look, we can't do anything either. If we try to do something, he's going to come to our realms and he's going to wreak havoc here. So it showcased that even in the magical realms, Galactus is a very big threat to have to deal with. And then after this, we get into the newer story event where we get into, I guess, kind of like a part 2 of the Infinity War story event, where now this time, instead of Thanos being the big threat, it is Adam Warlock. Apparently what happened was Adam Warlock split himself into 3 different beings. There's one who's a pure being that works on or thinks through just facts and statistics, and he's just very logical thinking. And then he separated his good and his bad aspects, because one of his, sorry for the buzzing if you guys hear that, that's kind of like the dishwasher, but one of his biggest problems that he had was the fact that he was in the last event where he was going off against the other cosmic beings and fought them, and was trying to fight the Living Tribunal. He realized that yes, he is very intelligent, yes, he is very he's a very great candidate for holding power, but the problem with him is he has a bad temper and he can't control himself. So he had to split his good and his bad aspects from himself, so he could have no emotions of good or evil within him. Kind of like what Kami did, but unlike Kami, he just split the evil part where he kept the good part, whereas this one he split both the evil and the good part and just kept a neutral part of him. But the evil part at this point was going on a tear to get the Infinity Gauntlet and try to use it to change and shape the reality itself once again. And this time they got Thanos on their side to help them out. They had a whole council meeting talking about how if he gets this power, he will have enough power to change reality and warp reality as a whole. Once again, we talked about this in the last video quite a bit, that the Infinity Gauntlet does have a lot of reality altering powers. A lot of people try to say that it can have multiversal level controlling powers. I don't agree with that. I've stated that multiple times throughout my videos. A lot of people disagreed with me, but seeing through the comic book issue where it was, first kind of introduced, it proved my point more that it only alters this reality, and it states once again this reality instead of saying realities as they're talking in a council meeting. Also, we go more in depth into a bit of a backstory of what happened, because there was a bit of backstory when he did this. Right after the events, like I said, he split up these aspects of good and evil from his being, so he could be completely pure and neutral when it comes to his decision making. I didn't check out that series because that didn't have Galactus pertaining in that story, but luckily there was some backstory that we got to see throughout this one. We found out that apparently the event had the evil version of him fighting the neutral version of him, and then we had the in-betweener there, and then apparently he had him something happened with Adam Warlock destroying the timeline. So the evil version of him was trying to corrupt the timeline and the time stream in this other dimension, and for Adam Warlock to stop him, the best logical conclusion he came up with was destroying the timeline itself by blasting it and erasing it. So that's very impressive that he could alter a timeline, though there's probably more steps and more context to how he did that than what I've been showing in this video, but I didn't feel the need to go in depth into that one because I want to focus just solely on Galactus himself and maybe just some other side characters that have something to do with Galactus's power. He goes on more forward to talk about, for a short time, he was there to end all and be all for realities. He was its master, basically talking about when he had the Infinity Gauntlet, he could do whatever he wanted to reality itself. And like I stated before, it does have complete reality altering powers. You can alter time, you can alter space, souls, minds, all this stuff. It's very powerful and impressive and has a lot of hacks abilities. But the thing that a lot of people need to take into consideration that a lot of people I think fail to understand is the power from the Infinity Gauntlet does not affect outside of the boundaries of that said universe itself. So it can only affect each universe. So if a being is, let's say, above universal, I don't think it would really affect them. But yeah, he talked about how he had to let it go because, he was going to get into a fight with the Living Tribunal. And as this progresses, they're seeing through his mind. They're also seeing more about, his evil aspect. And they go on to say, such as the fact that acquired mysteries and near infinite source of power. We wrestle this might for 5 separate realities. So basically they're saying that he has infinite power. Once again, they throw around these terms of infinite omnipotence all the time, but it doesn't really mean that they're all powerful. It just means that they're very powerful, usually up to universal levels in scale. But the fact that they had to fight this guy between 5 different dimensions is quite impressive. I know that there was this one specific character from the Sonic franchise. I forgot, I think it was Solaris or something like that. And Sonic, Shadow, and Hypersonic all had to attack him simultaneously from 3 different separate timelines, from the past, present, and future. It's a little bit different than attacking from different dimensions, but still, it was kind of similar to that in that instance. So after this, we basically have a situation with Death and Doctor Strange. They're talking a little bit. Apparently what happened was, in this event, Galactus was riding with a ship. He was flying with a ship, and what happened was the evil Adam Warlock basically saw that they were coming. He blasted the ship, destroyed it, ended up killing not both, but he ended up killing multiple people. He ended up killing Doctor Strange, Nova, Silver Surfer, and even Galactus. He destroyed the ship and killed him. So we know this, Galactus' ship is the size of a solar system, so that attack was at least a solar system level or above. But it ended up killing them, and Death came to show up to Doctor Strange and talk to him. They start having a little bit of a back and forth. Doctor Strange says, "But I recall dying," and she says, "You would be surprised how often I hear that remark. Your sacrifice remembered life, not death. Besides, your death was cooperatively instantaneous, disintegrated along with the vessel, comprehension by the entity called the Magnus." Yeah, that was the name. I'm going to still call him just, I'm going to sometimes go back from Magus, not Magnus. You know, he's not a condom. But I'm gonna go between Magus and Evil Adam Warlock because I might forget his name sometime. It says by the way, in case you are interested, you are suspended and you're suspended and aimed. Your comrades remain. The floatism is Nova, the Silver Surfer, and even Galactus. And then she goes on to explain that, in fact, Galactus, he kind of died, but since he's like a being that is outside of this reality's dimension, we already talked about this, how he came from, there's a cycle of death and rebirth when it comes to the universe itself. So the universe there starts with a big bang, and then it grows and grows until the universe dies, and then it recreates anew, and there's a new cycle each time, right? And Galactus came from the sixth cycle of the last universe's life, and when it died, it created the seventh cycle, which he became Galactus because he was like, I forgot what his name was before, something Glenn Beck from Ta, and when that universe died, he came back as Galactus, and he was ruled by that universe's cosmic entities, because each time the universe gets restarted and gets into a new cycle, there are new cosmic entities that basically govern the laws of that said universe. And since he was from the previous universe that had different cosmic entities that govern the laws, he doesn't have to follow the laws of this universe. So though he technically physically died, he didn't truly die, because like I said, he's outside of the confines of this cosmic entity's abilities, because this one is ruled by life and death, which his previous one, they never really explained what it was ruled by, but whatever that was, that had an effect on him. Since that universe is dead, there's no effect that he can have from there. And in this universe, since it's a new one and they have new set of rules, they don't work on him, so death also doesn't work on him. And she goes to talk about this quite a bit. She also uses this to try to trick Doctor Strange to stay dead. She says some pretty interesting things, saying like, he says, I've battled Dormammu and Baron Mordo and Mephisto and even the Ancient One himself, but I've never felt so. And then it says helpless, and basically he's stating that he fought some very powerful cosmic entities, but this situation is far more dire, and he's never felt this level of patheticness. And then after this, we go to, I think, the ship getting reconstructed. They go on to talk, saying, I prayed that sudden astral disruption wave wasn't more than poor Galactus could handle, was enough to decimate a star system, no more. Yes, worries were groundless regarding beings. So basically, this is Magus talking about when he destroyed his ship, and he said that it can destroy a star system. Like I said, it could destroy a whole solar system that attack. So he himself states that attack could destroy a star system. So it is quite interesting that Galactus died from an attack, or at least got destroyed to the point where he had to refix himself from a star system destroying attack, which is quite interesting. Then later on, we see all the psychics, or the most powerful psychics in the world, working together to try to find because he was messing with the minds of the people of Earth, and they were trying to use their combined power to find him and like stop him. And you had like Jean Grey, you had Professor X, and then there's two other psychics that I don't know. It says the psychics, their hands' powers are then going to stir the every mind of the planet to a level of telepathic resistance. The hope is of any one portion of the universal takeover can be stopped and sectors are halted. So yes, like I said, he was manipulating the minds of the universe and the people on Earth. And these very powerful psychics had to work together just to, combat him. That's how powerful he was. After this, we have some of the villains trying to fight him. We have Doctor Doom there. We have I forgot what his name is. I know who he is. You guys are probably going to see in the image anyway, but all the villains try to attack him, and he's easily beating them. So yeah, as this fight is happening, Kang the Conqueror, that's who it was. Basically, he pulls out the Ultimate Nullifier. It says right here, blast my control console has deactivated the jamming signal. the damage nullifier is operational, it could destroy us all, even me. So what was happening was Magus was smart enough to create a machine, or at least some protocol in his ship, which would send out these waves that would disrupt the ultimate nullifier, basically interfering with its work and preventing it from being used. So he was using this machine. He was using this programming that was sending out these waves, preventing from the ultimate nullifier from being used. But as the fight was ensuing inside his ship, they ended up destroying the console that prevented or sending out these waves to prevent the ultimate nullifier from being used. But once when it got disrupted, it could be used again, and King the Conqueror was going to use it against him. And like I said, he stated that that damnable nullifier is operational. It could destroy us all, even me. So even with the Infinity Gauntlets, he himself admits that it could not only wipe out everything there and all the other, beings there, but it could also even wipe them out with the, Infinity Gauntlet, which we at this point know how powerful it is. It was strong enough to handle all the other cosmic entities all simultaneously. They all attacked Thanos at once, and he was able to easily overpower them. And even Eternity, which is the embodiment of the universe itself, when he tried to fight Galactus, got easily beaten, and he got his position stolen. The only reason, Thanos lost it was because he subconsciously didn't want to win and gave up the power. But with the Ultimate Nullifier, it showcases the power is not only above all those cosmic entities, but also the universe itself, and obviously the Infinity Gauntlet. So if we're comparing these powerful items, I would definitely put the Ultimate Nullifier above the Infinity Gauntlet, because it is definitely more deadly. So I would put the Infinity Gauntlet at Universal level power, and I would put the Ultimate Nullifier above Universal. How much more? I don't know. I'll put like a Universal plus until it shows anything above that. Some people might say that it was multiversal, but I don't really agree with that. And the fight ensues later on, and then there was a statement about this destructive force in his baby is enough to make the neg bomb that destroyed the Kree Empire look like a firecracker. So they're sending off an explosion to destroy a ship and basically take out Magus. And they stated that this has more power than the neg bomb. I don't know what that is, but they say it had enough power that said neg bomb apparently destroyed the Kree Empire itself, and it said not only did it destroy it, but this explosion that they're using against it basically made it look like a firecracker, which is insane to say the least. After this, we have Galactus appearing back up, and he's ready to attack him. He comes in this weird astral form. He's talking about how he's going to take him down and kill him, and they also state, "I'm Galactus intrinsic factor within the universe," basically stating that he's a very important part and integral part of the universe itself. So he kind of got destroyed. He reconstructed himself, came in his like astral form to basically talk to Magus and say, "Hey, I'm coming after you, man." But as this happened, Magus was using the Infinity Gauntlet to basically warp reality and manipulate all the people there. He's able to warp Wolverine, Galactus, Thanos, the Incredible Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Adam Warlock and Gamora. So he's able to basically affect all these beings. We already know how powerful the Infinity Gauntlet is. If it could handle the other cosmic beings and entities that are well above Galactus, it makes sense that it could handle Galactus and these other heroes. So after that image, that was the end pretty much of that story event. There was really nothing else there that was pretty interesting when it came to feats or Galactus himself. The only thing that really happened afterwards was Adam Warlock basically tricked him by replacing his Infinity Gauntlet with a fake one, and he had the real one, and he ended up beating him, and I think he trapped him or destroyed him. After this, we have an entire story event with Thrax once again. Apparently Thrax, as he was working for Galactus, he wanted to get a power boost, and as he got a power boost, he asked Galactus for a power boost. Galactus gave him a power boost, and he got into a fight with the Silver Surfer. Apparently what was happening was, at this point, he basically was trying to get upgrades in his power, and he was kind of doing a ploy to betray Galactus, but he wasn't coming outwardly with it. He was just trying to get Galactus to give him extra power, as he did. He used that power to fight off Silver Surfer and beat him. And Silver Surfer talks about, how much of a threat he is, how much he enjoys violence, and he was also provided with, the power on a planetary scale. So basically stating that he was powerful already before, but with Galactus' power boost, now he can murder on a planetary scale, which doesn't make much sense because we've seen Silver Surfer already destroy planets and attack beings that have planetary level, power and above that. So it doesn't really make sense that Thrax with this new power would be, planetary or on a planetary scale, and that'd be enough to hurt Silver Surfer. But Silver Surfer got beaten up, and he's trying to find ways to, stop this guy and beat him. And Thrax later on goes to this one planet where they have this divine water to upgrade his power. He went inside the thing, and though he already got an upgrade in power from Galactus, obviously he already had the cosmic energy within him, but he got additional cosmic energy from Galactus to make him murder on a planetary scale, like Silver Surfer said. Then he dived into this energy well in water, primordial force of water, whatever they call it. Galactus didn't know this, but he went into there to get even more powerful, and he basically stated, it's within me to destroy this planet. It's within me to destroy any who oppose me. So he also, as he left the planet, he was basically destroying it. Basically, these are around planet level feats. They're nothing too impressive. Silver Surfer then ends up fighting against him again because, there's nothing he can do besides fighting him. So he tries to take him down. As he's attacking him, they're going back and forth. They're destroying things. But clearly Thrax at this point has the upper hand over Silver Surfer, and he's above Silver Surfer in terms of power, right? So with just a bit of a power boost from Galactus and this divine water, putting him on a planetary scale, somehow he was able to surpass Silver Surfer, and he wasn't able to do anything. But as this event was transpiring, there was this new enemy that arose, and apparently this enemy basically he fought Galactus long ago. I think millions of years ago. He fought Galactus long ago. He was a very big threat at that time. He was taking out a lot of he was the most powerful being. Pretty much nobody could take him down or step in and stop him except for Galactus. He stood up, he fought him, he beat him, and he beat him so bad this guy ran away, hid to regain more power and to try to surpass Galactus. And he was planning this for a while. And to gain more power, he did get stronger enough to beat certain powerful characters, but not enough to beat Galactus. To beat Galactus, he had to capture certain characters and absorb their energy to add to his own. So he captured Thrax, he captured Silver Surfer, and I think he also captured Adam Warlock to absorb their energy and additional other people. He was trying to get their power so he can get strong enough to beat Galactus. You see Silver Surfer as a prisoner. He states, millennia ago, when your ancestors still lived in trees and beat each other to death within the jawbones of animals, I held the universe in my grasp. I was a god. My word was absolute. Galaxies perished at my whim. I was feared by all beings, and it will come to pass again. There exists nothing to stand against me. So he basically stated millennia ago, he was, like I said, he was running havoc on the universe itself. He had a big army. He was considered a god. He basically was controlling and dominating the universe. He was even wiping out galaxies with a whim. I think what basically he was doing was probably having his allegiance go into these galaxies, wipe out these planets, and basically conquer them, more so than he was obliterating galaxies, because there's no point for him to just obliterate galaxies and mention that. But as this happens, the people that he captured ended up breaking free, and they start fighting him, but he's way too powerful for them. He ends up beating Silver Surfer pretty easily. He ends up beating up the other ones, and they have to all jump him just to beat him, and still they struggle to take him down. But as this is happening, Galactus did show up, and he ended up beating the guy pretty easily. So even with this guy already being powerful enough to beat Silver Surfer and these other characters, and then absorbing their energy and power onto his, he still couldn't beat Galactus with that, showcasing that Galactus, even though he might not be the most powerful being, he can handle very powerful beings that can, either control or dominate the entire universe itself. So then after this, we have a battle between Jean Grey and Galactus. She actually ends up hurting him and putting him down, and she's pretty much beating his ass. And as she's doing this because he's trying to devour this world she's trying to protect. And she basically, is trying to stop him. And he's calling her a hypocrite, saying that you've destroyed a lot of lives. Why are you attacking me for doing the same thing when I'm just doing it as, a natural part and balance of the universe itself? And also due to the fact that I need this for subsistence to live. And she agrees with him. She's like, yes, you're right. I did end up destroying a star, which took away the light and the warmth for an entire solar system and ended up killing a lot of people. But the thing is, I felt regret for doing that, and I'm trying to change my actions and trying to work, to be better against it. And as they're talking about this, Galactus basically tells her that she's a force of the universe. Basically she's an integral part of the universe too. She's basically the destruction for the universe itself, and we had a mention of this in the last part also, where they talked about how she's cosmologically not only integrally a part of the universe's set of anger and destruction, but also she will destroy the cosmos in the end too. So basically she's like the doomsday or Armageddon of the universe itself. So she will destroy it. But this showcases quite a bit of her power. The fact that the Phoenix Force could hurt and take down Galactus and put him on his knees, but also destroy a star pretty easily, and obviously eventually end up destroying the universe. Now after this, we go back to Thrax again, because there was a bit of a story event with Thrax. The whole build up with him and fighting against that other guy that I forgot what it. I don't think I said his name because I don't really remember it. But after that, he comes back. He starts going back on his bullshit again. He starts fighting them, and basically Silver Surfer is like talking to Galactus. He mentions how in the guise of Mephisto during their battle, he destroyed the evil one. So basically he ended up killing Mephisto at some point. So Silver Surfer not only fought him kind of to a standstill at one point, but he also ended up killing him. But this was him just explaining what was happening when Thrax came back and was trying to fight. So as this happened, Thrax ended up fighting Galactus. He actually cut Galactus and made him bleed, but it didn't do any severe damage to Galactus. He mentioned that they were going to use the ultimate. What happened? I think it was like Thrax or Silver Surfer. One of them got the ultimate nullifier, and he says right here, the drone and the ultimate nullifier have all merged into one. Obnoxious, all-powerful weapon, total destruction. So this was like a collective of this powerful, weapon, and so it was basically the ultimate nullifier with another technology in there. And he was talking about, how they're gonna attack. That this will be very dangerous. This weapon is basically all-powerful. They need to find a way to stop it. They talk about the responsibilities of the ultimate nullifier has rested within him. This is where what's the name? Death Battle basically stated that Galactus was the one who created the ultimate nullifier and this and that, and he did not. It was not him. It was one of the Watchers named I think Utah. He was the one who created the ultimate nullifier. It's just that Galactus kind of has the role of protecting it, because this has the power to not only destroy him but the universe, and he's the only one that can kind of match that power. So that's the only reason that he has that. After this, we see Silver Surfer getting taken out by by Thrax, who had the ultimate nullifier at this point. So he gets taken down, but as that happened, Galactus was like, screw it, this guy's a danger. So Galactus ended up basically messing with him. They messed with his because like I said, he combined the ultimate nullifier with his body, And what happened was Galactus messed this up, and it set off the Ultimate Nullifier, but they were able to confine the range of the destruction to only them two. So Silver Surfer stated that they had been consumed by the Ultimate Nullifier, but we find out that that wasn't really the case. It was just kind of constructed against him, so it destroyed him. Then after this, we have a pretty interesting event, which Death Battle also mentioned this in their one, but there was some context that they left out. So what is happening in this is Reed Richards' dad comes from another dimension, and I think he came from the future, or wherever. He came from the future or another dimension. He came there to basically, talk to Franklin or Reed and tell him, hey, look, we are in danger because there's a being from the future that's come to basically mess stuff up. And this being is quite powerful. Why is he so powerful? Apparently, he is the son of both Franklin Richards and Jean Grey / Cyclops' daughter. So we know Jean Grey, she has the Phoenix Force, so she's very powerful, and Cyclops is pretty powerful in his own right. So they had their own mutant child, which she's obviously should be very powerful too. And then you had Franklin Richards, who is also, very powerful. We know he can warp reality on not only a universal scale, but also what it seems to be a multiversal level scale, right? So they had a child who was even more powerful, and he became a villain and a threat in the future, and he's coming back to the past to basically mess stuff up. They stated that how he had enough power to, become one with the hyperspace and the source of all energies, which basically is very impressive. So not only was he able to, combine his body with, hyperspace, but all of the energies, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, he can combine himself with hyperspace. That's a pretty high level, feat to have and do. So after this, we have them like trying to prepare to fight him off because he's too much of a threat. How do you beat him? As they get into their fight against him, he ends up beating them so badly that they're like, yeah, we can't really beat him. We don't have enough power to handle him. So we need to, bring somebody into the fold that does have enough power to beat him. And who can that be? They basically try to bring Galactus. So they set up this device to contact Galactus's world ship to come over there and fight, Franklin Richards. And he basically is like, okay, you guys want me to come, or not Franklin Richards, fight Franklin Richards' son. I forgot what his name is. So basically they set out this device to bring him to fight. Apparently at this time, since, the Ultimate Nullifier went off and ended up killing both Thrax and Galactus, it ended up killing them both, and that's what people thought. But we find out later on, and Reed Richards found out, is that it didn't kill Galactus. What Galactus actually did is he opened up a portal to another dimension, and as he opened up a portal to this dimension, he slipped into it. So even though the Ultimate Nullifier usually will wipe out the universe, if you can slip into another dimension, you can escape the destruction. And though they minimized the destructive size from the entire universe, it still had universal level power. It was just that the scope of the blast radius was confined to just them both. But even within that, he was able to open up a portal and slip into it. But as this happened, they brought Galactus here to fight this guy. And remember, like I said, he's very powerful because he's not only the son of Franklin Richards, which we know how powerful Franklin Richards is to begin with, but he's also the son of the daughter of Jean Grey and Cyclops' kid, which should also be very, very powerful. So this guy's very powerful. He combined with hyperspace, and yet still Galactus was able to fight him pretty well. Galactus, though he was, able to somewhat fight him, the biggest advantage that Galactus had against this guy was the ability to absorb energy. So since this guy could, use energy for his power, Galactus could absorb this guy's energy to add on to his power. And even talk about it, he states, "Not even Galactus has sufficient power to defeat me. I have no desire to engulf you in fruitless battle, mortal. I am Galactus, my burning hunger can no longer be denied, thus I must feast upon the living energies which I sense within you." So what happened, like I stated, since he was in this other dimension to escape the Ultimate Nullifier's destructive, power, he saved himself, but he also kind of trapped himself in a dimension without any energy and food source. So he was kind of starving, and he was very, very hungry. His appetite was at his highest at this point. And since Reed Richards was able to find out what he did and was able to bring him back from the dimension to fight this guy, knowing that this guy, even though he's very powerful, Galactus is also quite powerful, but also he has the great ability of absorbing energy, especially certain types of energy like this. And this guy absorbs energy himself. They could use Galactus to absorb his energy, and this guy didn't expect for that. And it goes on to state, as we already know, the hyperstorm is a living conduit in hyperspace, and hyperspace is a limitless source of energy. He will prove an unending reserve of substance for Galactus, whose boundless hunger can never be truly satiated. So, like they stated, he basically, since he had I think his name is Hyperstorm was what he called himself. He's a living conduit. That's his power. He can absorb energies and stuff, and he can use that energy to convert it into fire back out. He went to hyperspace, absorbed the energy from there, so he was connected completely to hyperspace, making him even more dangerous and powerful. But luckily, Galactus, since he can absorb energy and also he can absorb energy into an infinite level because he can never be very completely satiated. He basically was the best, enemy to have to fight against him. And this is important because usually in story events where we have characters that can absorb energies of other people, they have a limit of how much energy they can absorb. But if they absorb too much, they could either end up exploding and dying or just their power shutting down. But for Galactus, he doesn't have a limit to that. So usually characters that absorb energy, if you give them too much, they can't handle it. For Galactus, there is no such thing. So if he's fighting against this character that has multiversal levels of power, and he's absorbing his power, and the guy tries to push in as much power into him, he's not going to be killing Galactus or make him full. He's just going to keep on eating until the end. That's what they're basically stating. And then it goes on to say, I suspect that these two will be locked together for all eternity. Basically, this guy has all this power and energy, Hyperstorm. He can, since he's using the hyperspace, he has infinite power that he drawn upon. But since Galactus can absorb infinite energy, and this guy's a conduit, so he can absorb it from him, basically they're in a deadlock. So you have a being who's connected to an infinite energy source, so he has infinite energy constantly running through him. And now you have a character who also can absorb energies in an infinite level. That would basically mean he can absorb his power infinitely. And they keep on going on to say, look, the effects of Reed's dimensionalizer are fading. Galactus is being drawn back into the dimensional void, and he's taking Hyperstorm. Sorry for that, that's the dishwasher. You are the greatest, Reed. You never lost faith, never despaired. So what happened was, as they were doing this, Reed was like, they're going to be in a deadlock forever, so to basically stop this while they're distracted and they're basically stopped in this, whole little fight and situation, I'm going to turn on the dimensional, portal that Galactus created in the beginning to save himself from the Ultimate Nullifier's destructive, power. Now he's going to use it to basically draw Galactus back, which will also take Hyperstorm with him, trapping them both in this dimension in this infinite battle between each other, which was pretty smart and pretty cool. Then after this, we have Silver Surfer talking about his backstory, how at one point when Galactus made him the Silver Surfer, he was going to different planets. He ended up on this planet with the Greys. We all know them, the big, bug-eyed gray aliens that have big-ass heads, right? Apparently, in this universe, they're actually pretty powerful, and then they have pretty impressive, powers. So as he was flying, he stated, a mystery the Sky Rider thinks as he rockets across space, surfing the waves of matter and energy that burst forth from any exploding star is not all creation of vast mystery. So even as the star exploded, he's able to ride on the star's energy waves and still think. So, in it, like I stated before, exploding suns like a supernova is nothing to these guys. Even when it happens, it's like a casual thing, so casual in fact that he's just casually thinking about, random stuff. He doesn't even have to focus on it at all. And he was just like thinking about life. But as he was doing this, he got intercepted by the Greys. They basically used this telepathic, power, knocking him down, taking him down. And he stated that these beings were like godly. So yeah, it just showcases that even alien creatures like the Grey are considered to be really powerful in their universe. But even though Silver Surfer is very powerful, these Grey aliens were able to take him down. He just shown himself riding on a supernova exploding and didn't affect him at all, but these beings could take him down easily. After this, we have this new opponent or enemy. He basically has the ability to cut through dimensions with a sword, and he states, by him who gave the power, he cut a dimensional rift, shifted a meteor from its own time and space to here and now. The name Redshift sounds familiar. Reed Richards once explained that it's how we perceive light over vast distances. So his name is Redshift. He basically has the ability to ride through and cut through space, basically opening up a rift between dimensions, and it can go through dimensions and time. So Silver Surfer literally stated that Redshift was able to cut through the fabrics of reality and create a dimensional rift, sending a asteroid from another place in another time into there to attack him. As they go on, Silver Surfer tries to fight back. He states he travels in the bursts of lights, even opens dimensional portals through a complex array of powers involving manipulation of space-time and the electromagnetic energies that binds all things together. But you also wield those cosmic energies in which the same way. That is what worries me. So he states basically how powerful he is. He states he can travel through, travels through bursts of light. So basically he goes like at light speed. He can even open up dimensional portals and go through them pretty easily. He can manipulate space and time, even the electromagnetic, energies and all the other forces that bind the universe. And then he also states that he has also some cosmic energy within him. So Redshift is pretty powerful. He can do quite a bit of stuff. They go on to fight. He states, a poor shot, Surfer. Those stresses are affecting him, affecting your aim. I wasn't aiming for you, monster. Cosmic energy bending space and time behind me. So swift, and both of us through a dimensional portal into the black hole beyond. So what happened was, Silver Surfer realized that this guy's very powerful. His abilities are very dangerous. They're very, unique. He has some pretty cool hacks abilities. So the only way for him to beat him is to create a dimensional hole, or basically a black hole, destroying it behind them and sending them both through the black hole to get out of there. So yeah, this guy can open up dimensions, but Silver Surfer can also create black holes and send them both in there, and they both can basically handle the black hole. And they go on to talk about how a black hole is a collapsing star which has become so dense, its gravitational field is so powerful that light itself is trapped and bent around it. Any object or entity within its radius will inevitably be drawn and crushed into nothingness, and yet impossible. Two beings shielded by their own enormous and almost equal power struggle within the dying star black hole. Creedon, in the service of the humans, you risk everything you have for what you will eventually destroy you. So it states right there, explaining just what a black hole is, how powerful it is, and how these two guys, even within a black hole, are casually able to fight. We've already seen this with the Dazzler fighting Thrax all the way back in, I think it was in the first part I did. Basically, we know at this point that they can handle planet-level destroying attacks, black holes, fight in black holes, solar system, stars exploding, either it's a nova or a supernova, and they can move faster than the speed of light. And these are just, Galactus's heralds. This is not even talking about Galactus. Galactus himself is well above this because he only gave them a fraction of his power, and with a fraction of his power, they could do all these things, and with his power, he's well above that. Silver Surfer goes on to say, without Redshift's energies to sustain it, the portal is shrinking rapidly. I'm not making it through. One chance is to compress my body into enter the microverse. He pulsates past atoms, seemingly growing the size of planets, then solar systems. He chases the tiny rift in space and time and remains all the dimensional portal. So basically, Silver Surfer himself states that while they were fighting, the other guy was the Redshift was the one holding open the the portal itself, and as he was leaving or whatever was happening, it was basically shrinking. So he couldn't get out of there because it was getting too small. So he had to shrink himself to literally a microscopic size to go into the microverse. And talking about how atoms are the size of planets and solar systems, and he had to get out of the dimensional rift. So this is also impressive because it showcases that when you get cosmic energy from Galactus, it doesn't just amplify your strength, speed, durability, and your cosmic awareness, but it also gives you so much more crazy powers, even being able to shrink yourself into, a microscopic level that you can go into the microverse. And this is very important because most characters that have these powers, it's usually, there's countless different characters that need to have all these powers, but when Galactus gives them his power, they basically have all these other powers that it will take multiple characters to have if you were to combine them. So that's the combination of multiple different powers, and it's pretty impressive. And then after this, we have an event where apparently Silver Surfer goes back to joining Galactus to conquer planets and devour them, and the all the people on Earth, all the heroes basically work together and like, damn, I can't believe he's back working for him. This is crazy. So they try to fight him off. There's other alien races that try to fight off Galactus directly because he tries to devour the planet, this one planet. I forgot what the name is. I think it's the Shirai or something like that. You guys will probably know it more than me, but he basically goes there to devour it, and they fight back. They use different weapons, and it states, weapons, even ion blasters against Galactus, it's madness. Perhaps these are the only weapons the Devourer has faced fire. You want to tell me against Stretchy why we just don't use the Ultimate Nullifier to take this clown out once and for all? It's a bit premature to consider destroying the galaxy to rid of ourselves of Galactus. It should come to that, and I hope it won't, that the Silver Surfer knows where the Nullifier is and what to do with it. So, like I stated, Silver Surfer went back to working for Galactus, but as Galactus is devouring this planet, Silver Surfer goes back against him, and he's trying to help these guys out. We have things saying, why don't you just use the Ultimate Nullifier, which I think he was talking to Reed Richards, but it seems more like he was talking to Johnny Storms, because Johnny Storms replies to him that it's what's the point of trying to use the Ultimate Nullifier right now? It's too early to use it because we're going to just wipe out the galaxy. So it's showcasing that the Ultimate Nullifier is one of those things that it should not be used as the first thing or one of the early things. It should be used as a last resort to take down Galactus, because it's so powerful and deadly that it could easily obliterate solar systems and the galaxies itself. So it's too much of a danger. After this, he gets hit by this. Galactus actually gets hit by this one energy cannon. It states energy rolls from the world ship and strikes. This is the power that rips aside the shells of the worlds and buries deep in to find the molten cores, then releases that predominant energy configuration of destruction. So what happened was, since he was basically destroying things, they were trying to use weapons to defeat him, but he was too powerful. Like I stated, the thing suggested using the Ultimate Nullifier, but Johnny was like, no, man, that's way too dangerous. We're going to end up destroying this galaxy. We're not going to use that. So they actually have a different plan. They're going to use his own machines against him. I think they hack his machines and then turn it on Galactus himself. The same machines that he uses to devour planets and destroy them and turn them into energy so he can consume. They turn it against him to basically destroy him and attack him, and it's actually hurting him and it's devouring him. They go on to say it devours, it annihilates, it lays waste to planets, and in the end it transmutes every molecule into energy. So like I stated, they used his own machine that destroys planets, converts it into energy, and he absorbs it, but this time they use it against him to destroy his energy and try to destroy his body and turn him to pure energy so he can absorb it. So they basically start beating Galactus, and Galactus is like, screw it. They won. They got me. I can't do anything. So he opens up a portal and then ends up leaving. And they start gloating. They said, "Great." He faded away. And as he faded, he basically ended up exploding into a new star. And they stated a new star is born. Galactus has been converted into energy by his own planet, destroying machineries, energies that will radiate forever outwards, so he can never again reform. Galactus is dead, and Homeworld now has a second son, a rifting function. So what happened was they used it against him. He tried to escape, but by that time, the energies, his energies was so affected by his own machine that it basically converted it, and it basically turned him into a star. So usually, like I said, he destroys planets with this and then absorbs the energies. But used against Galactus, since he has so much energy, it cannot convert it and absorb it to something else, so it changes his body into pure energy. So as it was changing his body to pure energy, it basically destroyed his old form and turned him into a star. So he came in there as a second star for that planet. If we were to convert Galactus's pure energy, it would be on the level of a star, which is pretty impressive, but he got beaten through his own machines, which was pretty funny also. So that's also another way to beat Galactus. If you don't want to kill him or can't kill him, you can just use his own machine to convert his energy, and when it converts it, it'll turn into a second star itself. So that's another way to beat him. Now after this, we have another big story event where Dr. Doom gets newfound power. Apparently, he gets in contact with the Cosmic Cube, and he absorbs the energy from the Cosmic Cube and uses it to, fight off the heroes and even some of the villains on Earth, and he even fights Galactus. Galactus basically is like, yo, you're just a little mortal. I don't know who the hell you think you're stepping up to and trying to fight. So Galactus tries to crush him, but he ends up breaking out of it, stating, I think not, Galactus. Your titanic grip might truly have flailed a lesser man, but it hardly restrained one who wields the Cosmic Cube. It has already enabled me to sap a portion of your vast power. So we are getting another, very powerful, I guess you can say weapon or, cosmic artifact, artifact I'm going to call it, from the Marvel Universe. Because we know there's many different things. There's the Infinity Gems, then the Infinity Gauntlet, which has all the Infinity Gems in there. There's Mjolnir, there's Stormbreaker, there's the Cosmic Cube, and there is the Ultimate Nullifier. At this point, we know where the range of power lies when it comes to the Infinity Gems, and also the Infinity Gauntlet with all the Infinity Gems. They basically I would scale them up to universal levels in power. So if you were to ask me how powerful do I think the Infinity Gauntlet with all the Infinity Gems in there as a collective are, I would state that they're as powerful as they're on a universal scale, right? And the Ultimate Nullifier has been stated to be above that because when it was used against Magus was stating that it would destroy him. So clearly the Ultimate Nullifier is above that. So if that is universal, that's most likely universal plus. Now since we have the Cosmic Cube, where does the Cosmic Cube lie? Because we hear these, items all the time talked about throughout these debates and these battles and, these videos talking about, Marvel stories and the cosmology and talking about, we've heard the Cosmic Cube and stuff like that, right? But we've never known to what extent these powers have. We've heard some statements that could be, laying where the power is, but I do feel like a lot of people over-exaggerate a lot of these items because they've stated that, the Infinity Gauntlet is multiversal. They stated the Ultimate Nullifier is multiversal, but from what we've seen, it's usually around universal. So how powerful is the Cosmic Cube? Well, it's powerful enough to give, Dr. Doom enough strength to break out of Galactus's grip and even absorb some of his energy, and he does even more than that because he ends up taking Galactus down and absorbing more of his energy, and he ends up absorbing pretty much all of his energy. So not only was he able to fight back against Galactus, but he was able to absorb some of his energy and then afterwards absorb all of it, basically turning him back into a human and blowing apart the rest of his suit. And we see like a small, the size of the, human form Galactus compared to, his own helmet. So yes, he has lost his power. And as this is happening, the Fantastic Four is like, yo, Dr. Doom he's way too ridiculously powerful. He even took down Galactus. He's a big threat, so they start contacting the other heroes. The first hero that they contact is, Thor, and Reed Richards basically tells Thor, he says right here, I believe Doom must be after nothing less than the power of Galactus himself. I too have met Galactus and am aware of his matchless might. If Doom were indeed to gain possession of it, then truly doth the entire universe stand on the very brink of disaster. And so, my friend, how may I aid thee?
The counter of doom, we will need to oppose him with a force of equal or greater strength. I can think of no force greater than the god of Asgard. So basically, Franklin states that, Reed states that, yo, look, Dr. Doom got his hands on the Cosmic Cube. It's very powerful, and now he's absorbed the power of Galactus. So he already had a lot of power enough to surpass Galactus, but now he has Galactus' power on top of it. And even Thor states, yeah, I fought Galactus. I know how powerful he is. So if he has this power to absorb his energy and then has Galactus' power on top of it, the universe will be in jeopardy. So it showcases some universal level scaling right there. And Reed stating that, well, he's very powerful, but I don't know any other force that would be strong enough to face him other than an Asgardian like you, Thor. Now, does this mean Thor is on that level of power? No. We do see later on that he isn't really on that level of power, but Reed is looking at it on the level of, if he's reached godhood, I need another godly being that can, fight him back. And as this happens afterwards, Doom is trying to absorb more and more energy. He's attacking everybody and everything. And it gets to the point where Odin actually steps in. Not only, Thor, but Odin. And Odin starts talking to Reed. Reed tells him, he says, Lord Odin, I know this man Doom, and his man is known as Own Shadow. It's merely power he craves, but death and wanton destruction. He's finished enslaving the unknown universe, the known universe. He will move on to the other dimensions, other planes, perhaps even onto Asgard itself. Please, I beg of you, hush now, O man, be still and fear not. For when next you meet, they die in nemesis upon the field of battle. So basically, Reed is trying to talk to Odin and basically tell him hey man, look, we need you, not only your son, but we need you, and we need Asgard's help. Doom has gotten too much of a threat. By him, getting the Cosmic Cube's power, he was able to absorb Galactus' power, and after absorbing his power, now he was able to dominate our universe. Not only was he able to enslave everybody and dominate the universe, but he's going to go on to other dimensions and other planes of existence in reality, meaning that he's going to go outside of Midgard to the other dimensions like Helheim, Niflheim, and Muspelheim and stuff like that, right? So he's going to go to all these other dimensions, and he's going to basically start conquering them as he did to Earth. And he tells him, don't worry, if he comes here, I'm going to fight him. So now we're going to have a battle between Odin and Doom. So we know Doom could beat Galactus, but we need to see how powerful he is against Odin. So after this, we have more talk from them. Odin states, wise were you not to seek my aid, mortal. Never hath Midgard been so imperiled, never hath the situation been so dire, so bleak. If Thor, Big Daddy, is walking in with boots, we're in deep trouble. Quid Ben, Odin knows that if Doom takes over our world, Asgard itself is endangered. I won't mince words, Sue. This is no ordinary menace we face. Doom's power is quite literally limitless. Doom rendered the Baxter building. He stole greatest inventions, and he used them to help him acquire the power artifacts he needed. The ultimate machine, the Cosmic Cube, the inhuman sacrifice helix of Randex, Annihilus' cosmic control rod, and now he's not merely as powerful as Galactus, as we have seen, he's more powerful. He's the deadliest man alive. He's still, he be mortal while thou hast enlisted gods. If only it were enough. Doom's capacity for evil knows no limit. Ben's right. Doom's headed straight for that sun. What could he be doing? It must be a test. So we get even more interesting information at this part, as they're talking to Odin saying, we're gonna come in there, we're gonna fight him, this is a very big threat, this is the biggest threat that you guys have ever faced. I don't really agree with that. I do think when the Infinity War story event where we had Thanos getting the Infinity Gems and the Infinity Gauntlet, I think that was more of a bigger threat, but they're just trying to hype up this fight in this event because it's very important and impressive. And as Reed was explained, he said he has limitless power. We shouldn't take too much we shouldn't take that too seriously, because people always say that in writing and stuff, this character or that character is boundless or has limitless power, until they've shown it. He does clearly have high amount of power, enough power to dominate an entire universe, but is that really limitless. I wouldn't really agree with that. But he also states that he came into their building, destroyed it, and stole multiple powerful artifacts. And he stole the ultimate machine. He stole the cosmic cube. He stole the Inhumans, helix of Randax, and he stole Annihilus's cosmic control rod. So he stole 4 items. So he didn't just have the power of the cosmic cube. He had the power of, Annihilus's rod. He had the power of the helix from, the Inhumans, and he had the power of the ultimate machine all combined into him, and that's what he used to beat Galactus. So that kind of makes Galactus a little bit more powerful, because if he just beat him using the cosmic cube alone, it would still be powerful because it's a powerful, artifact, but still be like, oh, Galactus lost to just, somebody having the cosmic cube. But the fact that he had to have multiple other, very powerful, items and artifacts in his disposal just to beat him showcases that it wasn't actually technically that easy to beat him. He needed more power. And then he's flying to the sun, showcasing more of his power. And as he goes into it, he states he's saving us the hassle of handling him. It ain't possible for him to survive that. Looks like we went through all this trouble for nothing. Big brain, no Ben, there must have been more to this than meets the eye. Doom wouldn't commit suicide not after all this. Look, there he is. He's alive and crackling with energy. Nuts. What's happening to Damon? The sun, it's exploding. Doom has caused that distant star to go nova. But where is Doom? Can he even have survived that? Now, this is a little weird, because you would think with the amount of power that he had and the stuff that they stating about him, like he's this powerful and that powerful, that him going to the sun wouldn't really make them be, worried or thinking that he would die from it. Like, why do they assume that him going into a star with all the power that he has would kill him? It doesn't make any sense. And they stated that nope, he's not dying. He's kind of basically disrupting the energy of the star for whatever reason to make it explode and go nova. Not supernova, but nova. So he's trying to blow up the sun. And then they also state that he can't survive that, which I don't know why they would think that, unless they're stating that Galactus couldn't survive that, which isn't true. I mean, even Silver Surfer can survive it because he's done it multiple times and they've stated it multiple times. So it doesn't really make sense there. I think that's just, bad writing. But after he did that, it says, look, Doom lives. He passed through the very heart of that star. What hope do we have of stopping him? Reed, what hope is there for all of us, mankind, and for our planet? So he went through the star, didn't get hurt from it, but like I stated, Silver Surfer and the rest of the Heralds of Galactus have stated and have shown to go through stars before themselves, and it hasn't really done any damage. So why is it impressive when he did it, when he's obviously beat Galactus and they stated that he's more powerful than him? That's why writing, when it comes to some of these stories, can be very bad, because a lot of people can take these in arguments to say, well, they're stating that even with that power, they didn't know if he could survive a star, exploding, right? So that means that if he's above Galactus, and they were like, even somebody smart as, Reed Richards was assuming that he couldn't survive that means that Galactus can't. But when you look at the consistency of it, of what is shown, you know that some the stuff in the writing doesn't make much sense. But it does showcase that most of the, superpowered beings on Earth aren't powerful enough to handle, an exploding star. So they're just not on that level of power. Then they once again go on to explain some more stuff. As there's talking with, Odin, Thor, and Reed Richards. Odin states, fear not, mortal, thou, Midgard, and the realm eternal stand at the stake of gods of Asgard, fight at the side. I have faced the power of Galactus before All-Father, and though his might rivals even yours, the god of thunder did triumph. So Thor basically states that even though Galactus' power rivals Odin's, he's able to, Thor himself has been able to beat him, which is a little weird. If you ask me, maybe there was more context on how he beat him. We did see with the God Blast, he didn't technically fully beat him. He just sent him away and he flew away. So he's comparable to Odin's power, but you can beat him if you're weaker, if you're a little more strategic. And then Franklin goes on to state, unfortunately, this isn't just the power of Galactus we face. Allow me to illustrate all the mystical, crystals, so you can better understand what we're up against. So you can see for yourself the menace of the danger we face. The ultimate machine was stolen from the Watcher's domain on Earth's moon. It's provided Doom with prosperity of all the universe's knowledge. in the universe. It gave Doom the knowledge he needed to drain Galactus of his cosmic power. The sacred helix of Randex was an endless wellspring of bioenergy that powered the Inhumans' Terrigen chambers. It allowed Doom to alter himself in order to access the knowledge from the almighty ultimate machine. The cosmic cube was capable of making Doom's wildest imaginations come to reality. It allowed Doom to carry out his plan to overcome Galactus. Its power alone should be enough to allow Doom to become master of the universe. So they're stating that the Ultimate Machine, it was by the Watchers, and they left it on the moon, which that's where it was being protected. Basically, what it has the power. What it's made for was to have the knowledge of the entire universe. So what the Ultimate Machine, you can gain the knowledge of the entire universe. He used that to find a way to, defeat Galactus and absorb his power. Then with the Helix of Randex from, the Inhumans, it has basically... it gave Doom the power to alter his body so he can be stronger and stuff. So I guess to make himself more durable, more faster, have the ability to absorb energy and all this stuff. So he got the knowledge from the Ultimate Machine, and he got the ability to change his physical being to be more powerful by the Helix itself. And this is what creates the Terrigen Mist to create all the Inhumans, giving them their powers. And then the Cosmic Cube, by being able to shift his body, he was or change the molecular structure of his body with the Helix, he was now able to handle the power of the Cosmic Cube. So he had the knowledge on what to do. He had the physical form to obtain this other item that had enough power to beat him. And as Reed stated, it has enough power with the Cosmic Cube alone, has enough power to master or control over the entire universe as a whole. So the Cosmic Cube, I would put it equivalent to the Infinity Gems and the Infinity Gauntlet, and I'll put the Ultimate Nullifier above it. So if we were to scale this, the Ultimate Machine isn't about power; it's about knowledge. So that doesn't really count. The Helix, it can alter your physical form, but it isn't really all powerful. Like you can control and destroy things. It's just that you can change your body to be stronger and more inhuman, to say the least. And the Cosmic Cube has been stated to be able to bring things into reality. So whatever you believe in or think, it can come to reality. Kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet, where you can warp reality. So with the Cosmic Cube alone, you can do the same stuff as that without having to collect all the gems and stuff. So you can master the universe, create, warp reality and create illusions and stuff like that, but it's still only on universal level and scaling. Then they go on to state, and the Cosmic Control Rod, of course, gave him enhanced control over all of the objects. You forgot to mention the pink hearts of green gloves cover. Ben, please. Now Doom has it all. Now Doom can strike never before. Now Doom is unspeakable, ambitious, fulfilled. Remember, Doom once drained the power cosmic of the Silver Surfer, and he's gone to the next level. He has taken the power of the Silver Surfer's former master. Doom has absolute power. So they also mentioned the Rod. The Rod, he had the knowledge from the Ultimate Machine. He had the physical changing of the Helix. He had the ultimate power and, reality warping from the Cosmic Cube. And the Rod basically gave him the power to control all these powerful items all in one. And Reed talked about how he was able to absorb in the past, Silver Surface power, but now he ended up absorbing Galactus' power, which made him even more powerful. So now these guys are all preparing to attack him. They've talked about it enough. They've gone in depth on how powerful he is, what he's capable of, and now they're, orchestrating a plot to defeat him. Doom goes on to state, never has one being had such matchless might, such complete and invincible supremacy. Doom stands before you as the undisputed master of all mankind, the master of the very universe itself. So he once again confirms that he controls and masters the universe. As this happens, we have the fight between Odin and Doom. Odin has been talking a lot of shit, saying that he's very tough, he can handle him and this and that. But as we see in the fight, that isn't the case. He gets slammed pretty easily by Doom. Doom goes on to say, and so it ends. Insufferable Odin has fallen. Flee, maggot, flee for your lives. Flee before I'm forced to crush you as well. He appears by the means of dimensional warp, the Watcher, member of the race of beings, pledged to never meddle in the affairs of other planets. He appears to bear witness to the unlikely events of the conquest of planet Earth. So basically, Odin came in there, was talking shit, getting really cocky and arrogant, thinking since he was a god, he can handle him. Some people might say, well, he heard that Galactus got taken down, and he was still confident that he can win, so he must mean he's more powerful. But the thing about these godly beings that we've seen a lot, especially through Thor himself, is they're very arrogant. They really put themselves above everybody else just because they're godly beings. It makes sense, but they're also super arrogant to the point of ridiculousness. So even though Odin might felt confident, he wasn't on his level, and Doom showed that he easily bodied him, and he said you are nothing to him. Then we have Namor trying to attack him, which is like, if Odin can do shit, what are you gonna do? Dr. Doom goes on to say, what Iblis has the audacity to pit his pathetic army against me who flayed the fathers of the gods? That imbecile thinks he can overcome a being who could end all time, all existence with a simple thought, the slightest gesture. So he once again goes on to state that he beat the father of all gods. So Odin's on the top ranking of the godly beings of Asgard, and he was able to easily beat him in saying, "Of he couldn't do shit to me, what are you gonna do to me?" Right? And the fact that he stated that he could end all of time, all of existence with just a thought, meaning he could wipe out all of reality with just merely a thought, showcasing more that the cosmic cube is on the level and power of the Infinity Gauntlet. But I think it's more powerful because the fact that they have to collect all those just to do that, whereas the Cosmic Cube, you just need this one item. That's insanely different levels of power, right? But still, it's only on universal level scaling. They didn't say anything about the multiverse or everything. He just stated the universe itself. As this goes on, we have some of the bigger, heavier hitters to fight Doom, because Doom grew in size. So we got Fin Fang Foom, and then we also got this big electric creature, which I know he's the Incredible Hulk's enemy. So they go to fight him. Fin Fang Foom actually punches him and tries to take him down. And even though Fin Fang Foom doesn't have the power to beat somebody like Doom at this point, he does have enough power to damage him and destroy his, armor, like his chest armor. And even though he loses in the fight against, Doom, and Doom is able to beat him, he does have an important and integral part by destroying his chest armor. You see the cosmic cube flying out. It states, "We request all true believers to know that the glistening cube. Later, you may be glad you did." And since the cube did fall out of his chest, he was basically losing the power. And it's kind of ridiculous that he has the power of the cosmic cube, where he can master all the universe and warp reality and do whatever he wants with it and create this powerful body that it can handle fighting somebody like Odin. But a punch from Fin Fang Foom is able to destroy his chest armor and send the cosmic cube flying out. It doesn't really make much sense. I do think it's kind of ridiculous that a being like him or on his power could do that. I do think it's kind of dumb, but they just had to find a way to beat him. So I think that was just kind of lazy writing, because he should have been durable enough to handle it or imagine anything else. Also, how did he not notice that the power source that he was getting his energy from was out of his body, especially when he has the machine that it gives him all this knowledge of the universe? But since it flew out and fell out, Reed Richards gets his hand on it, he picks it up, and he basically pulls up on Doom with it, and he doesn't even say anything. He just uses it and takes back all the power that he gained from the Cosmic Cube and the other machines and stuff like that. So he takes back all the power, gives back the power to Galactus. So Galactus gets his power back. Dr. Doom gets all of his power drained, and all the artifact get thrown back out of his body and get back to the reality itself. So yeah, that's pretty much how they beat Doom in this story. But in this story event, Doom easily beat Galactus. Every time when they want to showcase these characters are very powerful, they have them pull up on Galactus and beat him. So even though Galactus is very powerful, when you have a very, very big powerful threat, usually a threat around universal levels of power or getting close to universal levels of power, they're usually the ones that are beating Galactus or forcing him in different ways. So we went through quite a bit of stories and covered quite a bit of things. I think now after this point we just get more into the modern day of Galactus. And when I mean modern day, I mean the early 2000s. But yeah, that was the last instance of Galactus back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, and 60s. But yeah, Galactus at this point, he's kind of shown more consistency where his power lies. He's shown that when it comes to these cosmic beings or these beings of high power, and especially these items of high power, he's usually a tier below it. So I would put him at this point a tier below Universal. That's where I put him. And then, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.